Okay, what's going on everyone? Doc here, and today I want to talk about Terrax. There's sadly not really much good that I can say about Terrax, but in general, he's about as basic as champions get. He has a couple of good immunities and a interesting power mechanic, but he kind of falls flat in a lot of things. But today I want to go over his abilities, show you some gameplay about exactly what I mean, and hopefully give you guys some options if you have to use him on offense. He might be an okay defender, but I think there's already some counters out there for him on defense, so I don't think he'll even be that strong for that. But I still wanted to kind of make this to go over my review and kind of say what I think could be stronger about him and kind of what he can do now. So let's get started. So Terrax is passive Geokinesis. He's immune to shock and bleed effects, and he's also immune to Power Drain, Power Steal, Burn, Lock, and Enervate effects from all metal champions, so any sort of power control from metal champions can't happen. So Terrax's Rock Field is his most important ability, both offensively and defensively. So while it's active, he gains an additional 170% attack rating, so really helpful offensively, although you can still see his damage is still lacking well in that Rock Field. While it's active, opponents take energy damage for every second the Rock Field has been active. And it scales with base attack only, but this is very much a defender ability, and it can deal a lot of damage for the longer the Rock Shield has been active. Every half a second, there's a 20% chance to inflict an armor break on the opponent, but it only reduces the opponent's armor rating by 83, so next to nothing. It can stack up to 10, which will be an 800 armor rating, but compare that to someone like Warlock, who with his SP2 places 2,000 armor rating reduction armor breaks. It's really lacking. While the Rock Field is active, when he's on defense, he's going to be a little bit more aggressive. So just like Silver Surfer, Terrax has his Power Cosmic. His is a persistent charge, and then also his attack charges. So his persistent charges has a max of 6 stacks, and his attack charges stacks up to 50. So every time his attack charges hits 50, then he gains 1 more persistent charge, and he can gain 2 per fight. So there's a couple different ways that he gains those attack charges. Gains 1 when he attacks the opponent, 2 when the opponent attacks him, and so on. So for each Power Cosmic, he gains an additional 10% power rate when struck while indestructible. I'll talk about how he gets that indestructible in a second. And again, he gains an additional power rate when blocking while indestructible. And both of those stack up to max 60 or 660, which is just up to the 6 max charges that he can gain. So when he starts a Rock Field, he gains 1 indestructible buff for each Power Cosmic. That's how he gains those indestructible charges. And 1 charge is removed each time he's attacked. This includes on his block, and it's kind of why his indestructible charges kind of suck. You can't tank SP3s with them, and they're really, really easy to lose. So, like I said, his indestructible charge buffs only ignore damage from attacks and do not ignore damage from special 3s. And then his indestructible charges are also removed when the Rock Field expires. So they're not incredibly helpful for tanking anything important. Terrax's heavy attacks have the capability of doing a lot of damage, but they're kind of hard to pull off to get that maximum damage. You see it right here with a almost 8k crit, but it's kind of hard to do that. So when he's charging his heavy attack, the Rock Field Power Drain is paused. And if the field is active, it's a guaranteed critical hit. And he gains up to an increased attack based on how long the Rock Field is active. So right here, because I had launched an SP2, and this was basically the maximum time for the Rock Field to be active, then it gets about the most attack it can get. But on the hit, the Rock Field immediately ends, and it consumes all the power, so I lose all of the extra bonuses that having the Rock Field up gives me. If you play Terrax on offense, you'll find yourself using his 4th light attack a lot more often than a 2nd medium. His 4th light attack will refresh the duration of all personal armor break debuffs on the opponent. This includes the armor breaks from his field and also from his SP3. So on all of Terrax's special attacks, this is his kind of interesting ability, and what he brings is new to the table. His special attacks don't cost any power, but after each one, his power bar drains until he reaches 0, and he can't launch special attacks during that time. During this time, also, he activates his Rock Field. So Terrax loses power the longer his Rock Field has been active. So with a couple of power gain synergies, you can keep it up for a little bit longer, but it doesn't last forever, and you can't make it last forever. Terrax's SP1, if he has less than 6 Power Cosmic, he gains 20 attack charges. If he has 6 Power Cosmic, he instead gains 3 additional indestructible charges until the Rock Field expires. The rock field triggered after the special attack has a flat 40% increased chance, so now a 60% chance, to armor break the opponent. Terrax's SP2, the last hit is going to give him a power gain buff, generating 40% of the max power over 12 seconds. This is pretty nice because it helps you keep your rock field for a lot longer and then increase the damage from it. Finally, Terrax's SP3, it's going to inflict a stun debuff lasting 2 seconds on the opponent, and it's also going to inflict a armor break on the opponent. So this one's going to reduce the opponent's armor rating by a lot more, and it's going to last for 15 seconds. Again, it can be refreshed with that light attack ending hit, so this one will help his damage out quite a bit more than those other 10. So Terrax's Sig ability, if he has less than 1 power cosmic at the start of the fight, he's going to gain 2. So he's going to gain up to the max he can gain from a normal fight. It's going to help us ramp up a little bit faster, gain more indestructible charges. In addition to that, he's going to start the fight with his rock field active and 2 bars of power. So his Sig ability is nice to have on offense, but it's going to be what makes him a pain on defense, because he's going to start with his rock field active and quite a long duration for it as well. So Terrax has 4 unique synergies and 1 synergy that goes to him, and they all kind of fill in voids where he's missing. Throughout the gameplay, I did not use any of these synergies because I wanted to give an idea of what he does entirely on his own. So with Silver Surfer, when the rock field starts, he gains an additional indestructible charge. With Phoenix, his well-timed blocks give him more power. With Annihilus, he gains a raw 15% attack rating, filling in that void of low attack. With Red Hulk and Mortar, he gains an additional 15% chance to armor break, so that kind of fixes that low chance of armor break issue. And then with Mole Man, so on Mole Man activated by Terrax, he gets a 20% chance to purify a debuff, which gives him an added utility. So these all kind of give him a little bit more, but you can't really run all these synergies at any time just to make Terrax a little bit better. So I ran completely without them in the gameplay. So I'm going to show that off now, so let's get started with that. So, Terrax. The best thing I can say about Terrax is he does stuff. He will eventually finish all fights, but he does it incredibly slow. He doesn't do anything faster than anyone. Right there, he saw a 3K and a 7900, but that's it. That's the highest I'm going to get. I got no armor breaks there. That's a problem with his 20% chance. So I don't get that increased damage from reducing his armor. And then my raw damage is just abysmal. I'm not even hitting for 2k, and I have class advantage. Class advantage not hitting for 2k is some of the most abysmal damage I've seen. Right here, I am going to launch an SP2, and from here my damage does increase, which is alright. Lose a couple charges to that. Now I'm hitting for 3ks, which is good. That's fine. That's totally fine, but the fact that you need to build up to that so often, he honestly reminds me a lot of the Champion. Because they both are assumed defensive champions, and they are, and they both have a little bit of burst on offense, but it's not viable for most content. And 99% of people would rather bring any other champion instead. So this is, I haven't mentioned it yet, it's 6-2-1 life cycle. I normally take this path. I'm going to do 2 fights on this path because it is a pretty good showing, because it's pretty basic. Right here I got hit. If I had those indestructible buffs, because if they didn't go away, like they probably shouldn't, then I would have been fine. But they go away whenever his rock shield is down, and that's kind of a big shame. But I get it's supposed to help him on defense, but he doesn't really build up that many charges anyways. Oh, I don't know. SP3 here, didn't really mean to get to an SP3, but it's whatever. It just means that I'm going to have 3 seconds of rock shields. I'm finally stacking up some armor breaks now. So I'm increasing my damage a little bit, but it's still not great. Right here I've kind of got to deal with life cycle a little bit, and I don't have as much of an issue with this one. Again, I'm down to 1%, pretty lucky there. Dodge an SP2 and get the kill. Next fight it's going to be way worse trying to deal with that life cycle, but I don't blame Terrax for that. I blame myself and the nodes. So there's really nothing Terrax can do, but this is just the most basic Act 6 fight I can do with him. Other than stuff that's just a little bit too easy. Yeah, so here against Drax, it's the same deal. I've got my indestructible charges. I built up a couple more indestructible charges this time. Now I'm up to 5, so I'm getting more indestructible with every special, which is nice. I can block more hits, especially against Drax, who's constantly getting those Fury buffs. And they're never going to fall off either. So yeah, I'm just hitting 5-hit combos, ending with my light attack almost always, trying to get that armor break refresh up. Baiting out an SP2. Yeah, you can see the armor breaks, though, they're not very long. If I were to launch the special attack right here, now they're half. If I have to bait out a special after my special attack, they're going away. I got incredibly lucky there. If I was a millisecond later, all my armor breaks would have been gone. Building up a couple, getting some good RNG this time. Lots of indestructibles lost, and we're finally up to 10 armor break debuffs. I probably should have gone for an SP3 here, because this SP3 has a good armor break, has a good duration. That's the word I'm looking for. Good armor break reduction and duration. So yeah, right here, all of the armor breaks fall off as I'm trying to bait out an SP2. Same thing would have happened with the 15-second armor break as well, though. That's one of the problems with having to play the aggressive style with Terrax. So I tend to end with mediums when I don't have armor breaks, and end with lights when I do. So that's why I kind of see a little bit different my combos. So right there, I'm ending with a medium attack, and after a while, it kind of feels weird to end with a medium attack. His fourth light attack feels a little bit more natural as a medium. It's weird, but yeah. So it's just the most basic rotation ever. I'm just trying to get as much uptime of my rock field as I can. I'm going for SP3s instead of spamming SP1s because I get that power gain buff, so it's going to help me keep up my power. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier in abilities, but I tried with power gain teams to see if I could keep the duration up for like quite a while, and it kind of works, but nothing incredibly well. So Drax is now at 12% after 127 hits. Oh my god. 6-star for 5-star R3 shouldn't really be having this much of an issue. His damage is just very, very low. Like lower than Mole Man, I think. I don't have a direct comparison of the two, but right there, life cycle's up. Indestructible is going to help me out there. That is kind of nice to have Indestructible for, but yeah, didn't do enough damage there during that. Now he's at 1% again with life cycle up. Knock him out of it. And it's basically just a bit of a struggle with Indestructible here. My damage goes low. I hit him with a heavy attack. Oh, I'm at 1% now. Hit him with another heavy, knock him down for life cycle. SP1 is going to knock him down for life cycle again. And like I said, this has nothing to do with Terrax. I don't blame him for this. This is where those indestructible buffs come in nice. I have 40% health there, and without those indestructibles, I definitely would have died. It's like 44 health into I'm not sure if it's a percent or health. So I decided to take it a little bit easier now. Now I'm into Act 5, Chapter 4. 5-star R3s rarely have an issue here, and Venom Pool, we're doing some good damage here. He's got a 70,000 health pool, and we're able to kind of cut through 25% really well while our rock field's up. Rock field's down. We're now doing 1,000 damage on crits and 600 on light crits. So really low numbers, and here comes the big issue. So this is the Vigor path, which means he's going to heal up if I don't get him below 25% marks. He's now back up to 86%. So now I have to go use my SP2 again, and I have to use my rock field and do as much damage as I can during this kind of burst before he regens up. But he's going to get the regen again, and he's going to regen up by the time my rock field ends. So he's at 82 now. My rock field is still up, but now I've got a bait on SP2. Okay, he went right into that. 60s. And, okay, great. We got him to 50%. That's not bad. But it's really, really slow going, this fight. More so than any 5-star R3 that I've tested other than Mole Man. Yeah, I think this is the hardest fight on this path. So, because he has the biggest health pool and because he's going to be regenning the most, but still, we got unlucky there. He did trigger the Indestructible right before we would have gotten below the health thing, so we might have been able to stop that regen, but it's back up at 50. It's been 100 hits. It's been a minute or so of fighting. Yeah, it's been rough. Raw field's going to go up here. He's going to try and regen here. He's not throwing an SP2. There he goes. But he's regened up quite a bit. My rock field's almost gone already. I'm going to get a couple nice more hits in there, but still, he is incredibly bursty in the very little capable damage that it can do. Entirely my fault getting hit by the SP2 there. It's going to start to regen up again. And then Venom Pool procs regen on his own. So not only is this a bad showing of Terrax, but he just gets unlucky with some RNG. But it just shows how bursty his damage is, which is why I've included this fight, as opposed to just cutting it. Like I only got 2 Dr. Voodoo in this path. So this is 5-4-1 if you want to check it out. Dr. Voodoo is the 3rd fight, and I couldn't get through Dr. Voodoo because of his damage reduction. So 155 hits for 70,000 health, plus all the regen that he did. Angela is going to go a little bit better, and this is going to be the last fight that I show. Basically, my thoughts on Terrax, his damage is bursty. It's serviceable if you really need to. Like, if Terrax is the first 5-star you pull, sure, he'll work. But he offers next to no utility, and his damage is super bursty. He's basically like the champion, except less utility. I'd rather take the champion in, even though the window for getting damage is a lot lower. With the champion, you have true accuracy, which is a lot better. I'm not sure how much armor reduction that he does, but it's quite a bit better. Yeah, so got a nice hit on the final hit of the SP2. We're doing some alright damage here, and Angela's going to go down really quick, but overall, a very rough showing from Terrax. I kind of tried to give him as much leeway as I could, but really that's all I could do with him. I could do basic fights, and he wouldn't do anything special. And that's pretty much the summary for Terrax. Nothing special. In terms of defense, I also don't think he'll be anything special. It's rare that a champion gets released and is a good defender. Most of the time, what happens there is that there is no perfect counter to them. And Terrax already has Namor. You can use Namor, you can use Quake, Dr. Voodoo, or Quake and Dr. Voodoo are probably going to be my top 2 choices when I see him in Alliance War and that kind of stuff. But really, I don't see him being a massive pain at all, because he already has some very strong counters to him. And on offense, I don't think he's that strong either. So overall, not too great a month for champions with Mole Man and Terrax. I didn't make a video on Mole Man, but you can go check out my stream if you want to go see the stuff on him. Yeah, he's rough. He'll work, but he doesn't do anything special. I'd honestly prefer the champion. If you watch that video, the champion that I have up here on the channel, I'm not a fan of him either, but I prefer him over Terrax. So that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you found it informative. Hopefully you're not pulling Terrax as your first 5-star, but if you do, he will still work. And that's kind of the point I wanted to make. He'll work not well. I've said that like 20 times in this video. I apologize. So that's going to do it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.